Goeiedag. We leven in Amsterdam, maar in Amsterdam leven mensen met heel veel verschillende achtergronden en heel veel religies. En de afgelopen weken is het Holy Paga feest geweest. En dat was van 9 tot 13 maart dit jaar, maar dat verschuift ieder jaar vanwege de sterren en de planeetstanden. En dat is een heel belangrijk feest voor de mensen met een hindoe achtergrond. En dat zijn in Amsterdam toch wel veel. Niet alleen mensen uit Suriname, want in Suriname is er een groot aantal mensen met een hindoe achtergrond. We noemen ze wel Hindoestanen, omdat ze voor een groot gedeelte ook dan nog uit India komen. Maar er zijn natuurlijk ook mensen die uit Indonesië kwamen met een hindoe achtergrond. En gewoon ook mensen die dat geloof aanhangen. Een hele grote groep daarin zijn de mensen van de Hare Krishna beweging. U kent ze wel. U ziet ze af en toe door de stad lopen, zingend en dansend of boeken aanbiedend. We hebben hier een aantal van die boeken liggen. Ik zal ze even laten zien. Heel diep in geloven. Nou, om nou eens wat meer uitleg te krijgen over dat Holy Paga feest en over de achtergronden van de Hare Krishna beweging, praten we met Shree daar. Nou, Shree betekent dus een soort aanspreektitel, dus we zullen maar Shree noemen. Welkom Shree, you are a member of this ISKCON, which means International Society of Krishna Consciousness. Yeah?
Yes, Luke, that's correct.
Yes, I am, and I can call you Shree. But you are, what are you? You are Swami?
Yes, I'm a celibate monk, and I've taken a lifelong vow to pursue my spiritual goals.
When you say lifelong, how long are you wearing this?
Jeez, I hope it's going to be a little bit longer.
But how long so far?
I'm 52.
But how long have you been in this?
20. Well, I've been with ISKCON for some 32 years, and I took a vow of sannyas or celibate monk when I was 27, so I just celebrated my 25th anniversary.
But when you were 20, which is now in the 70s or whatever, you were back in San Francisco, part of the flower generation?
San Francisco, here I come.
But you were there?
Yeah, I was there. Haight-Ashbury.
Haight-Ashbury, in the Summer of Love, 67.
The Summer of Love, yes, yeah. Hippie Hill, yeah. The whole 9 yards.
That was the first time in the West that things like Hinduism or Buddhism were appreciated. People like Ginsberg and others.
Right. I think, of course, the word Hindu is a misnomer to start with. There's a river Indus, and the Persians called everyone who lived on the other side of the Indus River as Hindus, and guess what it became?
Hindus.
Hindus. And so it means a kind of goulash of whatever you call yourself, whatever you could worship a telephone pole and call yourself a Hindu. But the actual terminology is translated in English would be followers of the Vedas, the Vedic scriptures. And
the Vedic scriptures are like the Bible.
Yeah, they're very vast, very voluminous, and they deal with all branches of knowledge. Ostensibly, or according to the Vedas, they are emanating from the breathing of God, and it has to do with philosophy, medicine, the art of war, every different branch of life.
And these are scriptures that were written when?
Well, they were written down some 5,000 years ago, but they've been extant since the beginning of time in a different form, but the essential principle is the same.
Okay. Now, there's another book, which is the Bhagavad Gita.
Yeah,
which is a little bit later.
No, the Bhagavad Gita, it's what is called a historical book, itihasa, and it describes a fratricidal war which took place just at the cusp of Dwapar Yuga and this present age, Kali Yuga, and Krishna was both an incarnation of God plus a member of the family. So he was involved in that. And in the middle of the battlefield, his friend, he gets disoriented. He's fighting against his relatives. He doesn't want to do it. And he turns to Krishna. He says, my mind is
he
really...
turns to Arjuna. He is Arjuna. He's the king.
Arjuna, yeah.
And
Arjuna's
Krishna is the driver.
Yeah, that's
and his
right.
friend.
Yeah, that's right. You know this very well.
I can't go to the Kumbh Mela and listen to this, because at the Kumbh Mela, and we show a little bit of that, you see reenactments, theater pieces about the Bhagavad Gita and the wider book, which is called the
Bhagavatam. The Bhagavad Gita is the instruction of God, and the Bhagavatam is a history of his life some 5,000 years ago. And not only him, but people who were related to him, devoted to him. So one is more story, and the other is more direct philosophical instruction.
Yeah. What always strikes me is the fact that this is set in the middle of a war. That this expose of the values of what we now call Hinduism is set in the context of a war between the Pandava brothers.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing. And actually, the Bhagavad Gita is not a treatise on war at all. In fact, most followers of Sanatana Dharma, or as you say, Hinduism, they are encouraged to be totally nonviolent. What to speak of being vegetarian, they're encouraged not to harm even an ant. But here you find the highest instruction given in a total fratricidal war where, millions and millions of people were killed. Mahatma Gandhi, he carried the Bhagavad Gita, he preached the Bhagavad Gita, and he tried to tell us that the Bhagavad Gita was about non-violence. But that's a completely impossible concept, because even within the body, the red corpuscles are fighting with the white corpuscles. There's violence everywhere in the universe. What the Bhagavad Gita is telling us is that we should align our acts and our deeds, our work, our mind with God, and then what appears to be violence will not be malefic. It'll be beneficial. So,
okay, Bhagavad Gita. When I went to India, but when I see you too, there is some sensuality. There's some colorfulness. There is some.
Very much so.
Very much. Hinduism is.
It's about the senses.
Yes, it's about being here now and don't give no bullshit. I took the dip in the Ganges.
Is that French?
Yeah. That's good Amsterdam. And everybody said, don't do it. It's dangerous. You pick up all kinds of horrible disease. I went in there. It was 5 or 6 degrees centigrade, which is very cold. And I thought, crazy.
Yeah.
They said 20 million over the period of a month. Millions of people taking a dip there. They don't die in masses, No. And in fact, in that mini city, there were maybe 2 or 3 casualties. I mean, you go you go to this what was that concert in America? I forgot it. Woodstock
now.
Or something.
Woodstock, yeah, Woodstock, and just a few 100,000 people, and there's people dying, there's people injured, there's So
it was amazingly peaceful. But one thing, I was up on a stand there during that night, and the whole week there was talk about the Ram Temple. One of the main issues in India is the Ram Temple. In 94, I think, in Ayodhya, the Hindus destroyed a mosque, and they wanted to rebuild as a Ram Temple because it's a historical place. But the mosque was there for whatever 200 or 300 years. Anyway, this is a major thing, and they're always talking about rebuilding this temple.
Yeah.
And that might, and everybody knows, that might lead to a war, because there's 200 million Muslims in India and 800 million Hindus.
Yeah.
Doing this would be a slap in the face of the Muslims.
There's not actually 200 million Muslims, but there's amongst that 200 million, there's Christians, there's Sikhs, there's Jains.
Well, anyway, there's a large.
There's a large body. I think the bigger body is in Pakistan.
That's the whole story, because if that would happen, Pakistan might step in.
Sure, of course.
So I'm standing there, and there was all this talk, and luckily there was the Gujarat earthquake, which took all the energy out of that. But I was standing there and overlooking the Kumbh Mela field.
Actually, the Gujarat earthquake, that was okay. You say it took all the energy out of or punch out of the potential that was building in Kumbh Mela, but 30,000, 40,000 people died in that earthquake. And
but how many people did it one time?
We don't know. It's a hypothetical situation on the one side and real dead people on the other.
There was a real tension at the Kumbh Mela.
I think that Kumbh Mela tension, first of all, we as Western devotees, we do not eschew modern day India. We're trying to learn the principles of a once extant culture. Modern day India is just as materialistic as any city in the world.
As I was calling all those babas that walk around there, people are dressed like you, but whatever they are,
right?
And painted in all kinds of colors, and what they want is bakshish. I call them bakshish babas, because they want to get some money from you.
With some chips, yeah.
But part of the story of the Bhagavad Gita is that at some moment Krishna reveals himself.
Yeah.
And we've all seen part of I haven't seen all of the Bhagavad Gita Indian movies, but there are many in this whole series.
Sure.
And there's a point where Krishna reveals himself, makes himself known, and the way they portray that is like an atomic bomb. Yes, it's like on the sky, and it's enormous, and it is.
Oh well, no, that's the 11th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, where Krishna reveals to his disciple Arjuna his universal form, and in that vision, Arjuna, and remember, only Arjuna is seeing it, although there's hundreds of millions of warriors on the battlefield. Only Arjuna is getting this darshan, or this vision, and he reveals his existence within the entire cosmos, not only this universe, but all the universes, and it has its kind of ghastly aspect to it, awe-inspiring aspect. And Arjuna at the end of that says, this is bothering me. Please, again manifest your two-armed feature. That's what I'm interested in.
But the way you feel it is like an atomic explosion, something that is total.
Yeah.
And when I stood there, and you can imagine that this battlefield must have looked like the Kumbh Mela, where you see all the holy men.
Okay.
They used to come on elephants, and now they're driving, but they're just sticking out with all the colors. And I stood there, and I had this feeling, wow, now if Krishna revealed himself, it would be an atomic bomb for the Pakistani.
Well,
but, okay.
we hope that'll never happen.
Well, the earthquake did take the wind out of that
it did.
Atmosphere. Okay, let's come back to Holy Paga. We have Christmas, we have Easter, and Easter is always in the spring, and it moves a little bit because of the moon. What is Holy Paga?
Well, there is a family, a very large family, known as the Kurus, and it includes Arjuna and his brothers and various other members that were on the other side of the battle. A very large family, and they were the progenitors of man at that time. So they got together. They got together with the residents of Vrindavan, which was Krishna's birthplace, which is a village, a small town, a village, and he had his activities, his pastimes there with the gopis. The gopis, all right.
I hold it up here, the gopis.
This is Radharani. She is the principal gopi.
Women from India all together, and they...
Here you go.
Yes, here it is.
This is, I don't know if you can get a very good picture. It is true that they were completely attracted to Krishna. The name Krishna even means the possessor of all beauty, all strength, all fame, all wealth, all knowledge, and all, he's Clint Eastwood too, all renunciation. So the gopis, and what to speak of the gopis, all the universe is attracted to him. That's why he's God. So he was there in his childhood up to 16 or 17, and he had many amorous pastimes. Then he went away, he left, these poor girls broken-hearted, and he went to Dwarka, which is in Gujarat, and there he was more like a king. In Vrindavan he was a cowherd boy, and in Dwarka he was a king. So he had many queens in Dwarka. So ultimately what happened was...
When you say queens, you mean lovers?
No, I mean he was a king. He had palaces. He had queens, and in each...
Because he could have more wives.
No. Well, yeah, of course a king can have more wives, but in one sense, Krishna is the king of all of us, and we're all... Here's a heavy concept for you. We're all female in relationship to Krishna. He's the supreme controller, and we are controlled. So although in this world we're playing our ego games, I'm the enjoyer and she's my gopi and like that, but in the ultimate sense, there is only one supreme enjoyer, and we are enjoyed by him. And of course we try to give pleasure to Krishna by chanting the Maha Mantra. But anyway, back to your holy Paga. When they got together, the queens of Dwarka and the damsels, the milkmaids of Vrindavan, there was a festival. It was a festive atmosphere, and they, in a spirit of joy and pleasure, they started spraying each other with different colors. And Krishna got involved, and his brother Balaram, and they were really having a good time. And it was centered around giving pleasure to God, giving pleasure to Krishna. What it has become in the modern day is like what Christmas or any other religious festival.
It feels a little bit like carnival because...
Yeah, like carnival. I was just in Rio.
Yeah.
There's a bizarre festival, Rio Carnival in Brazil. But anyway.
Is it always at the same time of the year? Is it...
Yeah, according to the moon calendar, it is.
So it is like a spring festival.
Sure, and it's meant to be a holy. It's called HOLI, but it's meant to be HOLY, festival, a holy festival, yeah. But
Are
it's
there
become, in India, it's just an excuse for getting drunk and throwing, you better stay inside your house on that day, or you go out on the road and people just throw colors all over you, and it's a big joke, and you got to get rid of that set of cloth because the colors don't come out.
I've heard people for weeks, they were,
Sure, they wear the color, they can't get it out.
So Holy Paga, is there a special ritual related to it that the priests do during their time apart from throwing?
Oh, of course. In the temples, Krishna, there may be any number of things, some puja, glorifying the pastimes of Krishna, or they may... A puja means a type of worship where you offer different paraphernalia, a lamp and incense, and there may be reciting of the pastime of Krishna from the scripture, and pious people can come and hear about that pastime. And, just like we have our heroes in modern society, and there's so many magazines telling about, Michael Jackson is now again into giving charity to children, and everybody perks up, oh, what's that all about? And, and this and that, whoever it is, we have our heroes.
Microsoft goes into healthcare.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Okay, Bill Gates. But...
just one actual thing. Cisco gives internet courses free to Amsterdam schools, Yes, similar thing. Amen.
So in the temple, we are trying to get people to recognize who the real hero is, and so they'll be.
Who is the real hero?
It's Krishna.
It's Krishna,
or the Supreme Lord, Godhead, Jehovah, Allah. They're all the same person.
Are we not ourselves the supreme?
No, we're servants of the Supreme, and that's great. If you live in the palace of the king, you wear the same clothes, and you get all the same opulences of the king. That's good enough for jazz. I mean, that'll fly. That's okay.
Yeah, but that's a very fundamental.
But
thing.
The moment you think that you're the king, off with his head. Check him out. He's out. He's history, because you are not Godhead. You cannot create the universe. You're not maintaining the universe.
And yet the great mystics of many religions have claimed that their ultimate awareness was that they were the Godhead. The Godhead, and
there are basically two schools of thought. And in India, the vast majority are Vaishnavas. There are, as you said earlier, not on the program, followers of Shankaracharya, who do in fact believe that they are the supreme. There's different varieties of that message.
You mentioned a few words there. Vaishnavites, those are people who
worship Vishnu or Krishna.
And you have other who...
There's another school. There's impersonalists and personalists, those who accept God as a person, and it's very much likened under our Judeo-Christian
So that's
idea.
An external God, like a father there who takes care of you.
Yeah.
Yeah?
No, well, it's not as simple as that, because you could be taking arithmetic and be very good at it, but if you get very good, you'll go to MIT and learn higher technology, arithmetic, mathematics, and theoretical mathematics, and whatever. So what we're dealing with in India is state-of-the-art spiritual technology for thousands of years. I mean, it's not that, half the doctors and half the computer programmers in America are Indians. It's not that they don't know how to make do. Those people who came to Kumbh Mela, they're probably, you could put them in a factory and get a very good productivity and very educated workforce, but it's not in their culture, it's not in their blood to work like a donkey all their lives without any culture. And they have a long tradition of renunciation, meditation, and focus on God.
Okay, we'll come back. So you say there's a personal school, a personal God, and an impersonal God.
Right. So the personal school goes very deep. Bhakti goes very deep into analyzing, whereas in the West, some groups may be satisfied just to love the person God without knowing that much about him. But in India, they go very deep. And then there's the impersonal school that they think that like a drop of water, if you put it in the ocean, it merges with the ocean. And when the soul is freed from the tabernacle of the body, it merges into a white light. It becomes one with the universe, etc., etc.
So that's more the mystical.
No, both sides are mystical.
But okay, that's
mysticism has to do with controlling your mind, making it your servant rather than your boss. Controlling your senses, doing what you want to do, and learning how to see the difference between gross and subtle material energy. Indira Gandhi used to, during elections, she would fly into a remote village area to get votes, and she would fly in a helicopter, and these people had never seen a helicopter before, so they thought, oh, a goddess is coming, and it was all part of her strategy to... she knew what a helicopter was. The pilot knew.
Wasn't magic, but
it wasn't. It was just manipulation of material energy. So mysticism is only that. It's nothing more.
Wait a moment. Are we now confusing magic or cities with the Western notion of mysticism as being not in control, but just giving up the control? One definition of mysticism is totally giving up to the divine, to the outside, to be controlled rather than to control.
Yes, that is not like when I was young. I wanted to ride around on, Easy Rider, Peter Fonda. I wanted to ride around on my motorcycle and, get enlightened. That's a kind of concept. Okay, you just allow yourself to go with the eternal flow, and you still do whatever you want to do, but you're doing it with flow. That's not what it means to allow yourself to be caught up by the divine will. Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. God's will is that you get out of this temporary, illusory, rotten, stinking material world and go back to the world of love and joy and activity. The kingdom of God means there are forms, there are activities, there are pastimes. Every walk is a dance. Every word is a song. Each moment is eternal. We have no scope for that.
There is no future, there's only now, yeah?
Well, every moment is eternal.
Mm-hmm.
You don't... time is simply our perception of things passing by. There's no... Material scientists cannot explain time. They can describe it, but they can't explain it.
Yeah, I used... One of my poetry lines is, time is a mortal thing. Yeah? Which means... it ends, but it's only for mortals.
That's right.
For
that's
the
right.
divine God, time.
That's right. That's right.
Time is a mortal thing.
That's right. Yeah. So, mysticism, real mysticism. If you're talking mysticism where weird things happen in the material world, that's like you say, some Siddhic power. And if you're talking mysticism where you go with the energy of the universe, you go with God, you don't just go to the airport and say, can I have a ticket to anywhere, please? You got to have a destination. And the destination of the universe, the whole purpose of the universe is to educate you that you don't belong here. You're an eternal spirit soul full of knowledge and bliss.
Wait. You say you don't belong here. Now that's a duality that you sometimes feel. And there's a well-known heresy of the West. It's called the Qatar faith, where they said, we don't belong. This is the devil. Reality is the devil. Yeah. Reality the material world is the devil.
No. This is
so
temporary. This is temporary. It's real, but it's temporary. And we are, in essence, our spiritual being. We're eternal. So we'll be much more peaceful and satisfied in a world where everything is eternal. We can exist here, but there are so many anomalies and contradictions. There's suffering. I fluctuate between happiness and distress, pain. The center of that is always God.
Yet, let's come back to the basics.
Okay.
You just said this material rotten world. I tend to say this world, this reality, is the shadow of the love of God.
Yeah.
Because the love of God, as Krishna revealed himself, is kind of too big, too heavy. But this is the shadow of his love. Mm-hmm. So we should appreciate the world as being a divine.
The Bhagavad Gita says, Urdvam gachanti sattvasta, urdva mulam adashaka. It's like a tree, 15th chapter, 15th verse. The material world is like an inverted tree. Where do you see an inverted tree? You see it on the bank of a lake. The tree is reflected on the water and it's upside down. So this is a material world is like that. It's a perverted reflection of the absolute world. Everything here has...
It's a reflection.
Yeah.
Is the word shadow not appropriate?
Well, you could say it's a shadow also, but I think this is more totally descriptive. It is a shadow in one sense. It has the form, but you can't see within the shadow. You can only see the perimeter of the shadow, whereas in a reflection you can see all the color, you can see all the variegatedness of the tree, the different leaves and branches and flowers.
Also a nice image. But so, if that's what we are in this reality, why the suffering? Why the...
Well, there actually is no suffering.
Come on. You just told me before that you have a sickness, you have to take medicine.
Okay.
I don't feel so good. So why is that? And what can we do about it?
Well, because we're attached to this temporary material world, we do experience happiness and distress. But if we would just let go, and not let go, but get attached to the absolute world, there's nothing in between attachment to the illusory energy and attachment to the absolute world. There's nothing like, I'm agnostic, Either you follow the laws of the country or you don't follow the judge. You can't say, Your Honor, I don't believe in your laws, but I don't disbelieve in them either. And he says, well, you drove on the wrong side of the road, you get a fine. That's it. There's nothing, So either you are attached to this material world and you get highs and you get lows, or you're attached to the spiritual world and you just get higher and higher.
Okay, but just coming back to what we know about the movement to the International Society of Krishna Consciousness, you have a specific way to achieve that spiritual connectedness.
Sound.
Yes, and that's sound, and that is chanting mantra.
The Maha Mantra. Man means mind, tra means to free. So we want to be free from the control of material energy. I am dictated to by my tongue, my belly, my genital. I'm forced to act. Sarva Prakriti Jaya Gunai, by impulses. born of the material modes of nature. So I want freedom. So chanting helps to clean the slate, clean the mind, open up a new vista, open up a totally new paradigm.
But that's when you say Hare Krishna, and so on.
Yeah, because there's no difference in the absolute world between the sound and the object. Here,
so
if
it's like constant connectedness with Krishna.
Brilliant.
Yeah?
Yeah, you expressed
but
it
now,
nicely.
when I went to India, and every cult there, every second Hindu guy gave me a book, and there's discussions about, for instance, chanting loud and chanting silently, like the transcendental meditation. They say you have a mantra in your mind, you don't say it. Yeah? Why do you do it aloud?
This is our tradition. We want to benefit ourselves and we want to benefit others. Fire acts whether you own the fire or you don't own it, whether you understand the chemical properties of fire or you don't, fire burns. And the Maha mantra, there are many mantras in the Vedas, but this particular mantra, great, Maha means great, is specifically recommended for everyone, and it's never charged. We don't charge. We give it this business of doing business with a mantra. That's total BS.
Okay, Sridhar, do the mantra one time to finish this, because if it's free.
Okay. It's really not about external form. It's about catching hold of the sound. Try to hear the sound of the name. Catch hold of the sound. It'll carry you. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.